And if you could just introduce yourself.
I play keyboards in Alice.
My name is Anna Maria, and I am the founder and vocalist in the band Vajra.
What was the initial start?
So we all have pretty storied histories.
I was just bored during COVID. Did a little demo, put it out, and it was pretty well received by the community. And
always had a thing for horror punk and stuff.
Something that started with me and a laptop during quarantine, and just like, oh yeah, all those times I said, if only I didn't have to work my job all the time, and now like I could have time to do that. Well, now this is that.
Hey guys, how's it going? Tone here with a new episode of Killer Albums. Today we're going to be talking about De La Rocka's debut album, Nightmare Reborn. Now, if you didn't have a chance to see it, we did hold an interview with Panu from De La Rocka. He's the primary songwriter and the singer and guitarist for the project. He goes in depth with a lot of his songwriting process and this stuff, goes in depth about a lot of the guest artists that he has featured on this album. If you want to know more about it, highly recommend checking that out. If not, this is just going to be a quick overview of the album itself. I think it's killer, hence the name. So this album does come in 3 different formats. For anyone that wants to stream it now, it is available on sites like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, stuff like that. We'll have links down below for anyone that wants to check it out right after this video. If you want to purchase physical copies, as you can see here to my left, we have a vinyl. The vinyl is going to come in 2 different colors for anyone interested in, I'm a purple guy, so I went with the smoky purple. There's also a translucent red that I think was really cool. And then for anyone that doesn't collect vinyl for any reason, we also have it in a CD format. So whatever your preferred listening method is, De La Rocka has you covered with this album, Nightmare Reborn. Before getting into the music itself, I just want to highlight the actual artwork that's featured on the album. I think it's really cool. Panu and I talked a little bit about the inspiration of where the album art was going originally, and then it turned into more of this voodoo theme. There's tons of little Easter eggs featured on the front and back that reference not only the songs that are featured in the album, but also the guest artists that are featured. So I have that up here in the corner or somewhere around me so you can check it out. But that is one little extra benefit you get with the vinyl version, is that there is more room for that artwork. The CD does feature the same artwork, but as you can see, it's smaller, so some of it is cut off. So I highly recommend, check it out. I think that the artwork is absolutely phenomenal, really captures the vibe of it. I really dig it. Getting into the music itself, we'll have the track listing up here. I'll have stuff highlighted as I start talking about it. You can catch different parts if you want to hear about different songs, all that good stuff. I'm not going to talk a lot about every single song. I think the best way to experience this album, obviously, is to listen to it. But I do want to highlight some of the songs that really stood out to me. I think this album is very solid from start to finish. It has a very good flow to it. But I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite stuff here today. So starting right off the bat, we have Atomic Bat. It's a dark surf instrumental, perfectly kicks off the album, gets you ready, gets you amped up, very high energy song. I like it. So right after that intro, we have Beer, Blood, Rock and Roll, which features our first guest artist on this album. It is Titch from the Klingons, who is doing vocals here. High energy song that makes you want to party, makes you want to drink beer, makes you want to have a good time, rock out, rock and roll. This song does have a music video with it that De La Rocka put out before the release of this album. We'll have that linked as well. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a good time. Check it out. Moving into the third song, which is in my top 3 on the whole album, which shows you just how strong it is, we have Voodoo Queen featuring Hannah Hutch. I was not familiar with Hannah Hutch's work prior to this song. I really wish I had looked more into her before speaking with Panu because, like I said, this is in my top 3. I think she does an amazing job. Panu does an amazing job singing lead here. Another, just again, high energy. This whole album is high energy. I'm gonna keep saying that. Something about a song where a woman has a guy under her spell. I don't know why. I really like it. Just pure rockabilly, psychobilly goodness. Like I said, in my top 3 on the whole album. This album just all the way through starts off very strong though. Something in this song, I get a really strong Hillbilly Moon Explosion. Emanuela Hutter from that band, and when they feature Sparky from Demented Argo. I just get that vibe from it, and maybe that's why I like it so much. I'm a big fan of Hillbilly Moon Explosion. So if you're into that type of music, again, I think this will be in your top 3 as well. So next up, another guest vocalist, we have Dax Dragster from The Godless Wicked Creeps singing Planet Psycho. This one is much more chilled out compared to the first 3 songs. It has kind of a Necrotopia, Haunted Cat House type vibe for any Necromantics fans out there. you know, kind of that reminiscing about the old days of psychobilly and stuff like that. I was not there to experience those days. It's still a lot of fun. I like it. Next up, Hellfire Club, just another fun song, good song. I wasn't as into it listening to it straight off the album, but looking up some live performances, you can see that the band really gets into it. I think that's a huge aspect of these songs as well, is that some of them are going to be better live. It's still a good song, not saying that it's bad by any means, but one that I think would be much better to experience live. It goes back to that high energy after Planet Psycho kind of slowed things down, so getting right back into the rhythm of things. Next up is Man with the Screaming Brain, which features Vlad Urban from the 666 Sinners. If you want more background on this song, Panu and I talk about it a little more extensively in our interview. One thing that he did mention, this song does have a music video out for it right now, but it does not feature a kind of sci-fi 50s opening monologue that sets the scene for the song ahead. It's like it's a nice little touch compared to just the music video version. And this version is featured on both the vinyl and the CD, so I recommend checking it out. I think it's a lot of fun. Tale of two guys in one head. What's not to love? Next up, we have another one of my top 3 favorites on this album, Invasion of the Robots, which features Vic Victor from the Coffin Cats. This was actually the first song I heard from De La Rocka, and the song that got me interested in the work that he was putting out. I'm a huge Coffin Cats fan anyway, so hearing this, I think that the theme of the story is a lot of fun. The music video is a lot of fun. I think it's his most fun out of all the music videos he put out. It's just a hard rocking song too. Like it's great. I love it. I think there's really clever lyrics in here, like the chorus, first by air, then by sea, storm the land, invade the earth. I think it's cool. This was another one that Panu and I talked about more extensively in the interview, but he's also talked about this one on the Beer with Bear podcast, where they actually do a breakdown of the music video. We'll have a link for that up here. And he spoke with Ash Rose on her Death Art 13 channel about it as well. So this one has probably the most coverage out of all the songs that are featured here. I recommend looking more into it. I think it's a really cool thing. You know, in our interview, we talked about this song came from his just view of the world with everything is now implementing robots and AI and all this stuff. Who knows where it's gonna go? Very apocalyptic, bleak view of the future. Okay, following that, we have Sex-Crazed Maniac. I'm not gonna say a ton on this one. I think it has the catchiest chorus on this entire list. Like, I don't know, the chorus is just very catchy, which is unfortunate with the lyrics because, you know, this isn't a song you can like sing while you're working out at the gym or anything like that. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Next up, we have Night Shift, which is another great story song. The song talks about a night guard who is on his last shift before retirement. And as you know, in a horror movie, someone that's on their last shift probably will never actually get to see their retirement. Spoiler alert. This song, I think, is one of the more danceable ones on the album. It's just another fun track, another great track. Next up is the last that's in my top 3. We have Out of This World, which features, once again, Dax Dragster from The Godless Wicked Creeps. It kind of goes into Planet Psycho a little bit. They talk about it. I'll be honest, I don't know what this song's about. I don't know if the song's being sung from the perspective of an alien, or if it's being sung from the perspective of just some guy that's out of this world. There's a lot of references to space and aliens and Area 51. I read the lyrics. I don't know what he's talking about. The intro on this one, I think, is what caught me right off the bat. It has kind of like to me, like a Southwestern Mexican startup that just gets you revved up. And as the song goes on, it's great. It has a lot of the pacing kind of switches up throughout the song. Most of the songs in this album, I feel like, are pretty solid the whole way through of sticking with one kind of thing. This one changes up a few different times, especially from that intro. So again, it's in my top 3. I think it was great. Next up, we have a pretty drastic departure from everything that's been set up prior. We have Rattlesnake, which features Peter Sandorf from Hola Ghost. Now, like I said, this is a pretty drastic departure. It starts off with acoustic guitar, and that vibe kind of goes throughout. It's more of a country-ish, twangy, Southwestern song. I don't think it's a bad thing that this kind of changes the formula. I think that the lyrics are a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of Peter Sandorf and his like extensive discography throughout the years. I think it's great to hear him singing on this. It's definitely his style that you can hear. Another one that's fun to watch live, there's some videos up on YouTube right now of Peter singing with Panu and the rest of the De La Rocka band. So again, recommend checking it out. I think this one also had the most interesting story behind it. At the very end, you hear the rattle of the rattlesnake. And Panu and I talked about that a little bit, of the inspiration that Peter had in writing these lyrics for this song. I think the story had gone where Peter had found like a wooden ruler, folding wooden ruler, and when picking it up, it made that rattle sound, which kind of inspired it, got his mind working to think of the song Rattlesnake. I think that's really cool. I love hearing stories of how songs come to be in that way, of really you can find inspiration anywhere. So yeah, just a neat little tidbit for you for anyone that likes extra little details about this music. And the last song that you're going to hear on the vinyl version and the digital versions of Nightmare Reborn is Little Green Men, which once again features Titch from the Klingons. So you have a nice bookend, you know, on either side there. Difference between this one and Beer, Blood, Rock and Roll. Beer, Blood, Rock and Roll, Titch is singing the entire song, whereas this one he's serving as almost like an overlord alien narrator who Panu is like fighting against. I think this is probably the most fun song on the album. I don't think it takes itself very seriously. It just runs with the premise of an alien invasion. I think Titch does a great job, and the one bit that he does sing at the end where it's great. I laugh every time I hear it. I think it's a great way to close out the album. Some of you may have noticed that I said that this was only on the vinyl and digital version, that was the final song. That is because on the CD version, there's actually a 13th bonus song. Wow. Now, for anyone interested, you can go on the De La Rocka website, which is www.delarocka.com, and you can see what that 13th song is. I don't want to spoil it here. He actually sent it to me before the CD came out and before he had put this out anywhere else, because we shared just a common interest with it, and I was absolutely floored. I absolutely loved it. This would probably be my number 1 or number 2 if it were featured on all versions. If you want to know what it is, if you don't like secrets, like I say, go to his socials, go to delarocka.com, and you can find out what it is. But definitely keep an eye out around winter time. There's going to be more announcements coming, all sorts of Christmas surprises. I can't wait. Thank you once again to anyone who's watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember, like, comment, subscribe, that old song and dance. If you have any suggestions for albums you would like to see covered on this channel, by either Will or myself, make sure to drop a comment down below or let us know on our socials. We're on just about every platform and we'd love to see you. We have a Facebook page up, which if you want to join, there's all sorts of news surrounding horror punk, psychobilly, dark alternative, all that good stuff. But once again, highly recommend De La Rocka, Nightmare Reborn. If you want more insight, we're going to have links to all those different videos down below. Keep killing it, y'all.